Tonight in southern Indiana, a 75-year-old woman has been found dead inside a home, and Wave 3 was there as a person of interest was taken into custody. Good evening, I'm Scott Reynolds.
And I'm Janelle McDonald. Police were called to a home on Woodbourne Drive around 3 this afternoon. Wave 3's Katie Bauer is live in New Albany. And Katie, do we know the name of the victim in this case yet?
Janelle, we have just learned the name of the victim. The Floyd County coroner tells us she is 75-year-old Christine Whitis. Now, while it has not been determined if the woman was murdered, New Albany police are investigating this as a homicide. The person of interest in this case is a registered sex offender, and he is currently being held at the Floyd County Jail on an unrelated charge. It's the kind of scene neighbors around here are not used to.
That's very scary to come out and see that, and then to hear that something like that had happened in this neighborhood is very scary.
Neighbors tell us 54-year-old William Clyde Gibson lived inside the home where the woman was found dead. A couple hours later, police released Gibson's picture, stating that he was a person of interest in this death investigation. Wave 3 was there as Gibson was handcuffed and taken into custody as he appeared injured. This all happened in the Walmart parking lot on Grant Line Road, less than a mile from the crime scene. Police say he was arrested for operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Neighbors who knew Gibson say they're shocked.
He's always been really, really nice. This just blows me away.
She tells us the home belonged to Gibson's mother, who passed away not long ago. Police say relatives of the deceased owner were visiting when they discovered the 75-year-old woman dead inside.
At this point in time, they didn't tell us whether they knew the person or not. Honestly, given the circumstances and the location of the body, I don't know if they probably didn't spend enough time in the home to actually see if they knew.
Police have not released the victim's name or how she died. Patricia Williams still can't believe the news. She says Gibson wasn't married.
Because he didn't date anyone, not that I'm aware of. And I can't feature who that is in there.
With so many unanswered questions, neighbors can't help but feel on edge.
It was really scary because there's a lot of single ladies that live around here.
And again, we have just learned the name of the victim in this case. The Floyd County coroner tells us she is 75-year-old Christine Whitis. As for the person of interest, back in 1991 in Kentucky, Gibson was charged with sexual abuse, robbery, and assault. If you have any information in this case that could help police, you're asked to give them a call. Working for you live in New Albany, Katie Bauer, Wave 3 News.
46-year-old Karen Hodella, a beautician and mother of 4, moved from Florida to southern Indiana for a better life. But in October 2002, she vanished. 3 months later, a dreary scene along the Ohio River, her body found, badly decomposed. And it wasn't until this week, nearly 10 years later, that police charged Clyde Gibson with her murder.
Through a social scene at the bars, they became acquainted with each other. We believe a short-term relationship.
The prosecutor says they're now linking other evidence to this case, like bloody clothes found in Cordon around the same time.
Clothes in Harrison County, body discovered in Clark County, and we believe the murder occurred in Floyd County near University Woods.
Floyd County prosecutor Keith Henderson says the defendant made statements that implicated him in the murder, but proving a case that old is rarely easy.
But when you've got a case 10 years old and you've got to go back and try and recreate with witnesses who may or may not be around, may or may not have good memories, may or may not have the good physical evidence.
Patrick Wren, an attorney not associated with the case, says it's less likely to find hair, DNA, or fiber evidence on a body that is that badly decomposed.
And if you can't establish how the person was in fact murdered, it may be very difficult to establish that it was an intentional murder as compared to a reckless murder.
And in this case, there's no cause of death either. More clear is the cause of death for a more recent murder, the strangulation of Gibson's longtime family friend, 75-year-old Christine Whitis.
Wave 3 was first on the scene tonight as police took shovels and backhoes to a New Albany murder suspect's backyard.
Katie Bauer is live tonight on Woodbourne Drive near Grant Line Road. And Katie, is the search still going on tonight?
Yes, Janelle, the search is still going on, and it will be for quite some time. New Albany police tell us earlier this evening they have uncovered human remains in Clyde Gibson's backyard. Take a look. You can see where investigators continue their work tonight. Floyd County Prosecutor Keith Henderson says they have discovered at least one individual, and this is someone other than 75-year-old Christine Whitis or 46-year-old Karen Hodella.
Investigators continue to search in and outside the home of William Clyde Gibson. Over the last few days, we've seen police removing bags and drawing lines in the backyard, the same place where just days ago they discovered the remains of 35-year-old Stephanie Marie Kirk.
I've been looking for her. Before this all started, I was the one looking for her for 2 weeks.
Kirk had been missing for a month. She was supposed to have been going to a bar to meet a man named Jeff Goen in his 50s. Police haven't been able to find Goen, and her father wonders if it was really 54-year-old Gibson.
I have no idea who he was. She did not know him. She met him probably that weekend.
Tony Kirk tells us he lost his wife, brother, and now daughter within the last year.
And I really feel bad for, her daughter, because she has a long way to go without a mother now.
It's been a week and a half since police discovered the body of a 34-year-old Clark County woman who had been missing. Today, they continue to comb the landscape around where they found the body with new tools. This is video you'll only see here on Wave 3. New at 6, Wave 3's Elizabeth Donatelli shows us what they're using at this home in New Albany. Liz?
Yeah, Scott, we were the only crew out here at 2:15. That's when they rolled up with this heavy equipment, drove it around the backside and the side of this house, and that's where they used it. Now, it appears to be a track loader.
The Gibson case seems to grow stranger every day. Wave 3's Katie Bauer has followed this investigation for us. She's live outside his New Albany home tonight. And Katie, you have some exclusive video in this case for us.
Yeah, New Albany police won't confirm or deny if they were searching near the Ohio River in Clark County today, but we have video that shows investigators there, and I talked to one man who says he made eye contact with William Clyde Gibson himself. Driving home from work on Monday, it was a sight Michael O'Brien wasn't expecting.
There were a couple cop cars, unmarked cars, and then also a prisoner that looked like they were talking to.
As he took a closer look, he says he realized that it wasn't just any prisoner. He says it was William Clyde Gibson, the New Albany man charged with killing Christine Whitis and Karen Hodella and linked to a third woman's murder.
When I drove by, he kind of looked up at me and kind of smiled as I was driving by, so it just seemed very odd.
Exclusively on Wave 3, we took you to Bloomington, Indiana, as the William Clyde Gibson investigation moved out of the southern part of the state.
Wave 3's Katie Bauer has been the first to bring you all of these developments, and she's live in New Albany with what investigators are after now. Katie?
Janelle, William Clyde Gibson's house has been cleared as a crime scene, and now efforts have shifted to track down new leads more than 100 miles away.
He told me that there had been the possibility of a body buried somewhere on our property.
For Ryan Stringer, that was quite a shock when a Monroe County detective showed up at his door to deliver that news. Stringer lives on a farm on Airport Road, and he signed a warrant allowing law enforcement to search his property in the future.
He said that the suspect that they caught had told them and described our barn and a small outbuilding we have in the field there.
That suspect is William Clyde Gibson, a suspected serial killer already linked to 3 dead women. On Thursday, sources tell Wave 3 Gibson was out of jail with investigators in Bloomington. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says the area was being prepped for a possible future dig. They also say that a tip led New Albany police to this secluded area in search of a woman's remains.
A father and a son who were once complete strangers are now finding comfort in each other at a time when they need it more than ever. Both had family members, 75-year-old Christine Whitis and 35-year-old Stephanie Kirk, who police say were murdered by William Clyde Gibson. Gibson is now facing the death penalty for both their deaths.
But I think that the nature of these charges, that if what we have accused Mr. Gibson with here, that if these two cases are not candidates for the death penalty, then I don't think any case would be.
Prosecutor Keith Henderson says on March 25th, Gibson sexually assaulted Kirk, killed her inside his New Albany home, then buried her in the backyard. He says Gibson also sexually assaulted Whitis, then...
The allegation that the state has made is that he has dismembered the body by cutting the breast off of the victim. Under Indiana law, that's may be considered dismemberment.
Sources tell Wave 3 that breast was found in the van when Gibson was arrested at a Walmart on Grant Line Road. Henderson is not seeking the death penalty for the death of 45-year-old Karen Hodella, whose body was found back in 2002. He says there were a lot of factors in that decision, including the age of the case and the evidence.
And thirdly, quite frankly, the practicality of 3 death sentences at that point, of trying 3 cases under the penalty of death, that I decided to leave Miss Hodella's case as a murder.
Henderson says the investigations into all 3 women are almost complete. He also says any searches they've done since not related to Kirk, Whitis, or Hodella, including one in Bloomington, did not lead to anything credible. So for now, Gibson is only charged with 3 deaths, but Henderson says he's not ruling out the possibility of more in the future.
Gibson is accused of murdering 3 women. Tonight, in a Wave 3 exclusive, Gibson's former girlfriend talks about the man she knew.
He wanted to try bank robbery, auto theft, rape, and murder.
The gruesome allegations against William Clyde Gibson come as no surprise to Kelly Bailey. Bailey dated Gibson in 1999 and 2000. She says she met him after getting out of a rocky marriage.
I guess maybe that's why he came into my life. Maybe he thought he can pull something over on me.
Bailey broke up with Gibson after being frustrated with the man she says was an alcoholic, addicted to drugs, and involved with crime.
When he took the rent money and started getting high on it, I was like, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And that's when I called it quits.
She says Gibson was verbally and physically abusive to her. She recalled one of his violent spells.
He starts hitting me, trying to knock me out, in my mouth a bunch of times. Wouldn't even give me an answer of why he was doing this.
Bailey says she fought back many times, but she says she thinks about the women who couldn't. 13 years later, Gibson is charged with capital murder for allegedly killing 3 women over a 10-year span. Gibson is charged with murdering Stephanie Kirk, the woman found buried in his backyard in April. He's also been charged with murder in the deaths of 75-year-old Christine Whitis, a family friend found dead inside Gibson's home on April 19th, and 44-year-old Karen Hodella in October 2002.
It's hard telling how many women he's actually done this to and has actually gotten killed that we will probably never know about.
Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against Gibson. In a letter to Wave 3, Gibson told us that he offered to plead guilty and take the death penalty. Bailey hopes to see it differently.
To him, in his mind, he would win if they put him to death and then the death penalty. So it's best to put him as life without parole, and then he would suffer for what he's done.
Years later, she still has this sculpture carved out of wood that Gibson made for her, an eerie reminder of the man she once cared for.
I put this back behind me back from 2001, and I've had to come back to it. I never dreamed that I would have to come back to this.
And Gibson's trial is expected to start in August. Bailey says she plans on seeing it through.